Namaskar. Friends, it is quite apparent why I want to share some of my thoughts with you, and that is about these results in Bihar. And of course, as I am talking to you, the results finally are not out, in the sense that there are still many rounds to be counted on, but given the trends, it is almost certain that the ruling National Democratic Alliance is going to have a remarkable victory. And it is quite apparent, unless some miracles do happen otherwise. That means miracles for the opposition parties. The NDA will be at least having more than two-thirds majority, which is not exactly unprecedented, in the sense that in the year 2010, if my memory serves me right, the BJP and then Nitish Kumar, I think they had got exactly 206 seats. That means BJP apparently had got 91, and JDU had contested more seats, and they had gotten 115. And altogether 206. If they had some other allied parties, I really don't remember. But the fact remains that they had made some remarkable or another remarkable victory way in the past. So if you are watching the results now in the TV, in various channels, if you come across this statement that this is unprecedented and vote chori, then I think they are totally devoid of ground reality or hard facts, because in 2010, when the government here in Delhi was led by the Congress party or the UPA, that time also the NDA, Nitish Kumar and BJP had got more than 205 seats. And this time, whether they get 206 or 210 or less than 200, that doesn't matter. So this is the second time one can say that in the history of Bihar as a state, particularly after the division of Bihar to Jharkhand, and then the main Bihar that we are having elections now through, this sort of results are witnessed. So what are the lessons that one can get from this remarkable victory of the NDA? I just will make three brief points, and then we'll further analyze it later. My point number one is this stereotype of analysis. I have written about it many a time in the last 7-8 years, and particularly after the coming of Modi at the center in the year 2014. I always find it very difficult to believe these stereotypes that in states like Bihar and UP, castes play a very, very determining role. If really the elections is only about the caste, then no government ever would change. The Yadavs should have continued to rule in Bihar, the Yadavs should have continued to rule in UP. And the whole point is this: the Indian electorate has become very mature. And as one is coming across many analyses from the experts, even in this present elections, the whole point is that one was thinking that the so-called Mahagathbandhan will be getting solid votes of the Yadavs and solid votes of the Muslims, and then they had that alliance partner about these Nisads, Mahagathbandhan Party or something of that sort. and they made him a candidate, or rather declared him to be the future deputy chief minister after Tejasvi Yadav. I think he has now lost. I really do not know at the moment whether Tejasvi is winning or not, because the last count he was trailing, but then somebody is saying that he may catch up because many more rounds still need to be counted. But that apart, the very fact that now it has been seen that MY, actually that has not worked. It has been seen in Yadav dominated region, the NDA has done very well. Even in the Muslims dominated region, in that Simanchal, the NDA seems to have done much better than the Mahagathbandhan. So that also says, some of the ground reports that had come, that all the Yadavs did not vote for Gathbandhan. They did vote for BJP and JDU. And even there are some ground reports that the Muslim women did vote for BJP and JDU in many a place. Their men folks may have been voted for Mahagathbandhan, but the houses were divided. The women folks, they went and expressed their solidarity for the NDA. So that means that MY, that Muslim and Yadav, it seems have been converted into what they say, the huge turnout of the women voters, and then huge turnout of the youngsters, the youth. So that means Mahila and youth. That is what, now that MY, M stands for Mahila and the youth. So this is that MY election. And when one talks of Mahila and youth, that presupposes or that implies the fact that this traditional stereotype of in India one can win elections only on the basis of caste is shattered. I never believed in that, particularly as I said that since 2014, after this Modi phenomenon came into the being, and whether in Uttar Pradesh things have changed, in Bihar things have changed, and particularly when the opposition parties like Mr. Rahul Gandhi only talks of caste, and so also these Yadavs dominated parties in UP and Bihar, they only talk of caste. So obviously that is the limitation of the caste as a factor in winning elections, and the latest result proved that. That is the lesson number one. Lesson number two is this, that of course personally I am opposed to it, this increasing tendency on the part of political parties to distribute these so-called freebies. Oh, पैसा ट्रांसफर करना, ये उसको इसको इतना देना, उनको उतना देना, ये देना, and then in the south that has gone to the most perverted extent, giving them scooters, cycle, whatever is that. That's freebies, that itself, whether the economy of the state can sustain that or not, or rather like this waiving of this farmers loans. Unfortunately, this is something every political party now is indulging in. In fact, I personally regret the fact that Mr. Narendra Modi was not resorting to this, but in the last 2-3 elections also they have resorted to that. So these freebies being a factor cannot be ruled out, because the fact remains the women they did turn out to vote because they were benefited by this NDA government in general and by Mr. Nitish Kumar, the chief minister in particular. But the lesson that one has to get is this. You may talk of freebies, you may talk of promising moons, but ultimately the question is that your promises must be deliverable, and the people at the ground must believe that what you are promising could be delivered. That is the most important thing. In the sense that, like what precisely happened, if Nitish Kumar, gave these women 10,000. I think Tejaswi Yadav promised them to give, 30,000. He promised to give every family a government, job. The whole point is that if you take the number of, families in Bihar into account, that many government jobs are not there. In fact, if you go by these organized sectors, and I saw a study, if you go by the organized sector, the total number of the government jobs available in Bihar, plus the private jobs in the organized sector, if you take them into account, they will not be even numbering 50% of the number of jobs that Mr. Tejaswi Yadav promised to give in the state to each and every family. So the point is, whatever freebies you may promise to the people, at the ground people have to believe it. I think that is the most important thing. That is the most important lesson the likes of Mr. Tejaswi Yadav must take into account in future. Because he really promised, moon. He promised, 100 times, more things than what the NDA government has, promised or has even delivered. So the question is, it's a question of delivering is one part, and whether the new things that are being promised, whether that is deliverable is another. So वो जो डिलीवरेबल ये सचमुच वो जो बोलता है, वो सचमुच वो प्रॉमिस दे पाएगा, कहाँ से लाएगा पैसा, कहाँ से जॉब तैयार करेगा? ये जो बिलीफ जो होना चाहिए लोगों का ग्राउंड में, मेरा ख्याल में दी महागठबंधन इन जनरल एंड मिस्टर तेजस्वी यादव इन पर्टिकुलर really failed in convincing the people. Otherwise, he himself would not have been in that precarious position of losing that seat. God willing, he may win. My best wishes to him. But the fact is that his number has come down to, I think, around 24 or 25 seats that his RJD is leading. And the atrocious condition of the Congress, I think it is now leading only in 2 or 3 constituencies that never would have happened. So the point is, the lesson for the politicians is that please don't promise moon to the people. People in India cannot be fooled around. They know what can be done and what cannot be done. And then whether what you promise you have delivered in the past. If I remember correctly, when Congress government came 7-8 years ago in Chhattisgarh, or for that matter in Madhya Pradesh, or for that matter when for some time they were in power in Maharashtra, did they really waive up the farm loans? Rahul Gandhi had said that within 3 days of our government assuming office, we will be waiving up all the farm loans. But that never happened in the last 5 years that they were in Chhattisgarh. So the point is this, I am not saying that you are not blaming, because whether that particular state was in a position to deliver, whether the economy of that particular state could sustain that sort of promises, if you deliver it once, is something that really needs scrutiny. And a rich state like Karnataka, if you go, they simply do not have money to repair even their roads. So but why? Because everything they wanted to distribute free bus rides and whatnot, that is a different story. So the point is that deliverable, your record in delivery, and whether what you are promising, whether they could be delivered or not, is something that the people of India now know. So there are some limitations to it, and I think this lesson should be realized by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, because as I said, even in the BJP, and he also has started, this freebie politics, though he himself was earlier against what he called this rabdi, politics. They themselves are also doing it, but that is not good for the country's economy. And I'm quite sure the people of India do realize that what can be done and what cannot be done. That is the second lesson. And the third lesson is this. This mindless and baseless allegations of your political opponents, that also people do not buy. You take for that matter, as I said, the disastrous performance of the Congress party under the leadership of Mr. Rahul Gandhi in this election is quite instructive. Instructive in the sense that what controversy created about that updating of that electoral rolls, that sir, and vote chori. अरे भाई आप बोल रहे हो vote chori, that 68 lakhs votes were deleted, but your alliance partner, who is your chief ministerial candidate, Tejasvi Yadav, a day before the elections, held a special press conference and said that I am superbly confident of having a magnificent victory because 73 lakhs new voters have come. Where is vote chori? You talk of vote chori. Your election partner says that 73 or 78 new voters have come, 78 lakhs. So the point is, these baseless, mindless allegations. Even you said that day before that election, the second round, Rahul Gandhi releasing what he called quote unquote hydrogen bomb. That may be really creating headlines the next day in the newspapers or the same day in the TV studios. It may really gladden the hearts of your quite an impressive number of chamchas who are in your so-called extended circle of supporters here in Delhi or the state capitals or important places in universities. That's fine for them. But at the ground level, people do not believe it. And every allegation of your in the last 10, 11 years has proved to be baseless. You talked of that Pegasus, that spyware in everybody's telephone, but when Supreme Court sets up an inquiry and that committee, you refuse to give your hand over even in your telephone or mobile for the checking up. You talked of that Rafael and what a Chaukidar Chore, what and what not. These mindless allegations really do not deliver any good. And Mr. Rahul Gandhi should realize this. That means he should realize these things. Basically, you talk of Congress. I'm particularly talking of Mr. Gandhi because he happens to be the leader of the opposition, and the Congress at a national level is the principal opposition party. Then if you all the time start giving or spending all your energy in these mindless allegations instead of some concrete suggestions for the country, people are not going to be impressed. What is your solution? You do not have any solution. You only talk of caste census. Caste census and 90% reservations. And is that the solution to the country's myriad problems and the challenges that India is facing in this 21st century, particularly at a time when we are determined to make it a developed country in next 30, 40 years? This mind and then this hatred, that means the opposition. As I said, that even on that vote chori in Bihar, there was no consensus among all the alliance partners of the Mahagathbandhan. It is vote chori, 99% of the time and energy in the campaigning of Mr. Rahul Gandhi was seen. But the other alliance partners, they didn't indulge, they didn't talk of that vote chori. So my point is this, that sort of mindless and baseless allegation will not you any good. And I think that is equally true for all political parties. This is the third political lesson that one can take from these results of the Bihar election. I think let me stop here for today, and as more data come, we again will be discussing the results at a greater length and at a deeper level. Thank you for your patience listening to me. Namaskar.